Hello, my name is Glenn Dyer, and you are watching a Dyer-Situation. Today I'm seeing Hardcore Henry. For those of you who don't know, this is actually a rather interesting project. Basically, it's an entire movie from a first-person perspective. So essentially, imagine that there's like a camera in the guy's eyes, and that's how we see the entire movie. So, yeah, I think it's an interesting idea. I don't know if it'll catch on or not, and I'm also rather interested to see how they make the cuts, because I doubt that this is an hour and a half of completely one take. So, yeah, interesting idea. And I really do hope that it works out. No, I do not think that this is the future of cinema, but, you know, interesting project, and we'll just have to see. The only thing else to say about it is, I forget if I mentioned it or not, but during, the Brothers Grimsby, I'm sure I mentioned this, like, Sacha Baron Cohen's brother, like, during the beginning and during certain scenes, he had, like, this green earth eye thing, which basically made the movie partially from a first-person perspective during the action scenes. And it was very strange. And of course it cheated because it showed outside shots as well. But it was just like, why is the movie doing this? And it kind of makes me wonder, because apparently this Hardcore Henry project has been going on for years. Did Sacha Baron Cohen literally just steal that idea and put it into his own movie? I don't want to necessarily accuse him of that. Maybe it's just a coincidence, but, you know, seems odd to me that he would take that very unusual step. It was kind of distracting in that movie, and this movie coming out has that entire gimmicky setup, and it has been working on it for years, so yeah. I don't know, I'll let you to research that and figure it out. So yeah, I'm hoping that it's pretty good. Maybe we'll get some sequels out of it, and then it'll go away. But, yeah, we'll just see how it is. Well, there were some funny moments in this movie. There's this one scene where, there's kind of a musical sequence that's pretty darn funny. And it does have some creative action sequences that happen. However, overall, this movie kinda sucks. And I'll tell you, right from the beginning, this whole first-person gimmick kind of fell apart. For me, it happened right at the very beginning, because you wake up as this guy, right? And then she starts asking him questions, and he responds to them by shaking his head for yes or no. Now here's the thing. The way they portray this, of course, seems the most logical. It's actually kind of terrible, is by literally awkwardly shifting the camera like that for no, like this for yes. It looks so terrible. That is what porn videos do. Like POV porn videos. That's how they portray yes or no, and it looks just as stupid there as it does here. My God. You know, you think it sounds normal, but then you actually, but then if you actually really truly think what it looks like to nod yes or no, notice this. When I shake my head, and when I go up and down like that, my eyes they don't actually change position here. Not as far as your perspective is. They stay kind of gyroscopically locked on to whatever I happen to be looking at. I don't, like... nobody's eyes are just totally static as they do this. You'd get disoriented if you try. Like, even doing that is kind of weird. So, it was so bad and such a terrible decision that I was honestly wondering if they were going to make it so he literally had some sort of camera lens stuck in his forehead, and because they mentioned like his eyes are gone, and that they replaced his eyes. But no, his eyes look exactly like normal people eyes, and they move exactly like normal people eyes. So, what we saw was just fucking stupid. So, yeah, the entire premise of this is just, the whole first-person thing. God, I do appreciate the effort. It must have taken a lot of time and money to make it all look as good as it does, but I'm sorry, sticking a GoPro on someone's head and filming a movie doesn't work out as good as you'd think. Like, there's this one scene where a character's moving away, and he says, like, because after putting one of his eyes back in, he says, "Alright, focus in on me." And the camera actually can't focus. Like, the depth of field does not work correctly on a GoPro. It kind of works on auto, and it's so noticeable and bad, and they happen to draw attention to that, but I don't know if it was on purpose. So on a technical level, this movie is absolutely atrocious. Let's see, and especially disheartening because the whole thing is kinda supposed to be, or at least it was marketed as, you are the action star, right? Like, I guess Henry is supposed to be the avatar of you. But it doesn't work. In a video game, it might work, you know? Because you're literally doing stuff. There is no interactivity in a movie. It's a very passive experience. It's a different thing. So when you try to market something like this, it doesn't make any sense. And especially, like, the themes in the movie are very video game-like. Like, the fact that your experience can be duplicated and experienced by many different people. There's a whole bunch of hardcore Henrys, but they're called different names. Like, if you enter a different name into the screen, but that only works in a video game, where you might enter your name, and then it might seem clever at the end. But in a movie, it just doesn't make any sense. Movie's riddled with plot holes, by the way. At one point, well, basically, at one point, it's kind of revealed that Henry has this secret that's been letting him down this whole time. You'll know it if you see the movie. It's been letting him down this whole time, and then after it's revealed, the bad guys who've been using this weakness don't seem to use it anymore. As if they kind of forget. Both his enemies and his allies forget that it's even there. And it makes no sense. Oh boy, there's more. At times, because, as I said, most of the movie is literally filmed with just some dude with a GoPro on his head. At times, it's kind of disorienting, because, of course, the guy's running around looking like this, and it just gets so blurry and so hard to make out, and so difficult to understand what you're seeing at times. It's just really terrible. As I said, on the purely technical level, this movie's absolute garbage. However, like I said at the start, it does put in humor, it does put in clever action sequences, and that just makes it so much more of a shame that the film kind of sucks so much. Like, I want to recommend it for that. It's like it was... I'm wondering if partway through production, as like making a first-person action film, they realized just how terrible this looks, so they figure we'll just inject as much comedy as we can and maybe we'll be forgiven. That's my reasoning behind it. And darn do they try. The movie is kind of funny, but I just got fed up with it about halfway through. I'm sick of being disoriented. I'm sick of the whole presentation of this movie. The gimmick gets old really fast, and then you're just left with a script desperately trying to entertain you while the technology behind it is failing to do what it's supposed to, failing its task so spectacularly. And yeah, it makes no sense. That's also that. I could go into spoilers and explain in detail why it makes no sense, but I don't feel like it. Just trust me, the movie makes no sense. Oh well. Well, what could you expect? I mean, it's basically as you know that college humor series POV? It's kind of like that, but more action-oriented and an hour and a half long. I guess if that's what you really wanted. Although even in those, I don't recall them ever having the camera shake left and right and up and down when the character was saying yes or no. That's stupid. God. Yeah, go watch those. Those are great. But yeah, I can't say I recommend this. Maybe if you're morbidly curious to see how it works, but trust me, it gets really old. You just want to see something else. Just want to stop with all the shaking, stop with all the awkward turnings and stuff, and weird humor, and yeah. Yeah. That's my 2 cents on that. So until next time, I'm Glenn Dyer, and you have been watching A Dyer Situation.